All right, guys, let's start. So first of all, thank you for joining the today's class. Today is our first class, right? So let me go through the few of the things before we start, right? So let me first explain. Um, like the car class will basically happen from 9 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. IST, Monday, Thursday, Friday, right? The overall course has two modules. First is your Azure Data Engineering module, which will go for 2 months. Here we will learn about Data Factory, Synapse Analytics, Microsoft Fabric, Databricks, and AI, basics of AI. And it will go for 2 months, right? When you are doing this particular course, the expectation is you learn SQL as well, right? So when you're doing this particular course, you learn SQL as well. I don't assume you know SQL or you know Python, but guys, at any point of time, if you have any question, please unmute yourself. Sorry, please raise your hand, and I will give you the chance to so that you ask question. But everybody, please go on mute. All right. If you have any question, you can raise your hand. Okay. So yeah, so we have this Azure Data Engineering module. It will go for 2 months, and we will learn about Data Factory. We will learn about Synapse. We will learn about Fabric. We will learn about Databricks, and we will learn about AI as well. Data Factory we will learn in detail here. Synapse, Fabric, Databricks, and AI agents will learn like basic to mid level, and it will go for 2 months, right? And when you are doing this particular course, the expectation is you learn basic of SQL by yourself, right? And then after this 2 months, we will start about Databricks and Spark module. It will go for another 2 months. Here the focus will be only learning about Databricks and only learning about Spark. That is what would be the focus here. And then when we are starting this particular course, the expectation is you either know SQL or you know Python, right? Any one language is good enough. Okay. All right. Now, what I want from you is you are basically attending the class daily. So all the classes you are attending, and at the same time you're attentive, right? So suppose if you're in office or if you're traveling or if you feel that, hey, I have another meeting in parallel, so don't attend the class, just watch the recording. But when you're attending the class, make sure that you're attentive and you don't need to watch the recording again because it's very difficult to like attend the class for 1.5 hours and again watch the recording for 1.5 hours. It's killing your 3 hours of time, right? So kindly attend the class as if you don't need to watch the recording. And then you are doing the homework without watching the recording, right? So suppose, yeah, you attended the class, you listened what we are saying, what I am showing you, and you directly go and do the homework. In that way, you are not copying me. So suppose, for example, you can also play the recording and you can do the homework. In that way, you will be copying me. So that I don't want. So you attend the class, you listen to me, you go to the homework directly. That would be better for you, right? And you take the help of Chat GPT, Claude, or Google, or whatever it is to do the homework. But you don't need to like play the recording and do what I'm doing. Okay. Then you're making your notes after every class. So I will give you the notes wherever it's possible. But the expectation is you're making your own notes. Why? Because after 10 to 15 class, it would be very difficult for you to revise, right? You cannot watch the recording and revise. So you should make your own notes, and your notes should be made in a way that you don't need to listen to the recording again, right? Because suppose sometimes it happens that people are in the 30th class and they have an interview. So they cannot watch like all the 30 class to revise, right? It's very difficult. So you should make your own notes, and I will give you the homework, and I will tell you the important interview question after every class. Okay, so that I will do from my side. What we will do today, we will first of all go through the introduction, okay, and then I will show you the like syllabus, okay, and then I will tell you the difference between a bootcamp versus training. Then I will tell you what kind of a projects I have done, right? In what kind of a use cases I have worked, and what you will be doing as a data engineer. Okay, so all these topics we will cover today. Why these topics are important? These topics are important so that you can answer interview questions such as what is your role as a data engineer, what is your day-to-day activity, what is your team size, and what are the projects you have done in your company or in your career. So these questions you should be able to answer in the interview, and you should know what will be your role, what kind of a projects you are handling. So we will not directly go and jump on technical implementation, rather than we will understand the different roles which is present in data engineering and what you will be doing as a data engineer, right? So which is very, very important to understand. Okay, so we'll go into this. All right, so that is the topic which we'll cover today. Okay, so let's start with the introduction, then we'll understand the syllabus, and then I will cover one by one all the topics. And at any point of time, if you have any question, you can raise your hand and I will give you the chance so that you can ask question. Okay, all right. So let's start with the introduction first. All right. So um let me first introduce myself and Sankha Das, right? So this particular training program will be led by two trainers, Abhishek Agrawal, which is me, and Sankha Das, who is my fellow colleague. And we have done a couple of projects together, right? So let me introduce myself. I am Abhishek Agrawal. I have done my graduation from NIT Raipur in 2026, and I started my career as a data analyst, and I soon understood that good analysis needs good data. So that drove me into data engineering field. And from past 10 years, I have been working, delivering, making data models, data platform, data pipeline, all by using Microsoft Azure cloud such as Data Factory, Databricks, Synapse Analytics, PySpark, Spark SQL, Microsoft Fabric, AI Foundry, and Databricks AI agents, right? So this is my profile. I started teaching from past 3 years now. I have been teaching, guiding, training people on Microsoft Azure cloud. I switched my profile from different salary bracket to 3 LPA to 10 LPA to 15 LPA to 33 LPA to 40 LPA. And then I came to Germany. Here I am working as a data engineer right now in Aldi. Okay. All right. Um, Sankha Das is my fellow colleague. He has extensive experience working on all into Microsoft Azure cloud. He has got around 6 to 7 years of data engineering experience, delivered projects around Python, PySpark, Databricks, ADF, Snowflake, Delta Lake, right? And he has been working in different clients such as US, Canada, Europe, right? All right. So now in Azure, as I told you that we have two module, right? Azure Data Engineering module and Data Spark module. In Azure Data Engineering module, the focus is Data Factory, Synapse, Fabric, Databricks, AI agents. So let's go over here. So here the focus would be learning about Azure basics, right? What is cloud computing, and what is integration runtime, what is link service, what is ADF, what is data lake, what is copy data activity, how to move one file or how to move multiple file, how to do like parameterization, lookup activity, how to do delta load, how to integrate Git with a data factory, right? Um, like how to use Databricks. what is Delta Lake, Data Lake, what is Lake House modeling architecture, right? Key Vault, if-else activity, metadata activity, triggers, synapse analytics, data flows, right? Fact and dimension, star schema, snowflake schema, right? So data warehousing concept, logic app, key vault, we will learn about many things here, right? But suppose if the 100% is syllabus, 50 to 60% is data factory, right? And then if we have synapse, we have fabric, then we have like key vault, logic app, right? Because ADF is the orchestration machine. So here you can see data factory is not been written over here in boxes. Data factory is written over here because data factory will help you to communicate with all the services. So it's important to understand all the services and also understand data factory. Okay. So here you'll understand about fabric, synapse, warehousing, key vault, logic app, databricks, and data factory in detailed manner. And it will go for 2 months. Okay. And we'll do 3 projects over here. This is the first project. This is the second project, and this is the third project. Okay. Now, after that, we'll start the Databricks and Spark module. Here, the focus would be learning only Databricks and only Spark. That is the thing which we will learn. We will not focus on anything else beside that. Because Spark is complex, Spark is difficult to understand. So, relatively, this course you'll find bit difficult than the other course. And if you don't practice in this course, right, like all the topics are very um, like all the topics are very related here. Okay, so if you don't practice a single class, you'll miss all the classes. Here the topics are bit segregated in a way that, hey, fabric we are learning, so synapse is also segregated, right? So here you can still learn topic by topic, but here all the topics are very connected. Okay,
Data, Azure data.
guys, I will mute everyone because people are just joining and their mic is not mute on mute. 1 second. All right. I've muted everyone, and if you have any question, you can unmute yourself. Sorry, you can raise your hand. Okay. All right. So here the focus is only learning Databricks and Spark, right? We will learn about Databricks CLI. We learn about Unity Catalog, Optimization, UDF, Catalyst Optimizer, Directed Acyclic Graph, handling complex JSON, predicate push down, prediction push down, repartition collage. And we will also learn new concepts such as delta live table, autoloader, right? So those concepts we will also learn. And here the AI topics are also like we will also learn about AI topics here, right? All right. So these are the this is the 4 months of syllabus. This is the 4 months of syllabus. Okay. Uh, all right. So now let's come to um, the like this. What is the difference between a bootcamp versus training? Okay. So give me a moment. I'm presenting another slide. Okay. So what is the difference between a bootcamp versus training? We are currently doing a bootcamp. We are not doing a training, right? What is the difference between a bootcamp versus training? Here, as I explained in the master class, which I think all of you have attended the master class. If you haven't attended the master class and you are attending this class for the first time, please type I haven't attended and I will give you the master class link so that you can attend, you can see the master class. And you should see the master class, right? So that you can understand about me and also the syllabus in a better way. So what is the difference between a bootcamp versus training? Here we are not trying to learn everything. Okay, so that's not the focus here. So suppose in data factory, if I feel there is a service, or there is a feature which they don't ask in the interview. And also, I haven't used it. It's not been used in the like project. I will not teach that service. Okay, or I will not teach that feature because it's not important. Similarly, if in Databricks there is some sort of a topic which is not been asked in the interview or which is not been asked in the project, I will not teach it. Okay, because we are not supposed to learn everything here. Okay, because all of you are working professional, most of you are working professional, and we need to really learn it fast so that you get a job fast. Okay, so we are learning enough, way more than enough, so that you can switch and also you can do your work in the company. So I'm teaching you everything which I know, which I am doing on day-to-day basis in my job. That is what I'm teaching you. But I'm not teaching you anything which I'm not doing or other data engineers are not doing or which is not been asked in the interview. I will also regularly add topics. For example, database is changing very, very fast. Okay, so they are launching features day in and day out. So I will definitely suppose if some topics are there which has been asked in the interview and not part of a syllabus, I will add it by myself because my job is to take care of the question which has been asked in the interview. So, for example, any new concept such as autoloader, liquid clustering, or delta life table, or whatever is been asked, right? So, I will keep on adding it because, and how I am aware about it, because many of my students are giving interviews. I am also giving interviews, so I'm aware what has been asked, and I will regularly add those topics in the syllabus that you don't need to worry. Okay. And we will learn fast. We will try to do hands-on. We will do project-driven learning rather than like theoretical based learning, right? The course will go for 2 to 4 months, depending upon which particular syllabus you have selected. And you need to trust the syllabus, you need to trust me, right? After 2 to 4 months, if you learn it fully, and if you go to the interview, and if your interviewer is asking you that if your interviewer is asking you which you haven't learned, right? Then I am failed, which I don't want, right? So I am teaching a morning class. I am also teaching a evening class. I am also teaching a weekend class, and I'm working fully as a data engineer in my job as well, right? So you should trust me because I am working day in and day out on this particular data engineering, Azure data engineering. It has been 10 years now, right? So I really know what is data engineering and what you should learn. So you should fully trust the syllabus. You should fully trust me. And it will not happen, guys, if you go for 4 months and then if you go to the interviews questions are here and there. It will not happen. Whatever you're learning, it's way more than enough. And if you just learn this, you will succeed. Okay. Don't feel that Abhishek, you're not covering this topic, that topic. I want to learn this, I want to learn that. Don't focus on all of this, right? It will not help you because the people who focus on 10 different things rather than focusing on syllabus don't do anything, right? So just focus on syllabus. Just try to learn what is being taught. And if you learn only this, you're already succeeded. 90% of the people are not able to learn what is being taught in the syllabus because it's an extensive syllabus. It requires time to finish. Sometimes in the starting class, in 1 or 2 weeks, you'll feel that the syllabus is slow. I am teaching you slow, but after 2 to 3 weeks, you will not feel syllabus is slow. You will always lag behind. So be with me. Try to learn what is being taught. Try to practice daily. If you do this for 4 months, then you'll get monetary value of the course. The depth of the course is practical implementation. We'll do end-to-end projects. The people who are looking for a switch, those are target audience here. The people who wants to skill it's learn like already working as data engineer and want to learn it in depth are also a target audience. And whatever we are learning in depth. For example, data factory, databricks, spark, and everything, these topics are taught in depth. And like I feel the syllabus is very, very good, and you should just focus on syllabus. Okay. So in training, we try to learn about everything that we are not doing here, right? It's not theory, right? And like we are not trying to cover many topics here, right? We are covering many topics, but it's not like covering each and every syllabus which is not important. That we are not doing here. Okay. All right. Now, now let's try to understand like what kind of a projects I have done, right? So let's try to understand this, okay? So I've done my graduation from an IT Raipur, and after that, I basically started as a data analyst. Then I worked again as a data analyst over here. Then I basically started working on engineering, data engineering, prompt sanity, then Smith detection, then like all this sort, right? In between, I also worked with Zebia and Northern Tool, right? So I have worked with the companies such as like I have worked with companies such as like I worked with Cinity, I worked with Zebia, I worked with Smart Detection, I worked with Northern Tools, I worked with Aldi, right? These companies are product-based company. All these companies are also product-based company. This is consulting company. This is also a consulting company, right? What is the difference between a consulting company and a product-based company? Consulting company basically like take project from product-based company and then basically hire engineers who can deliver the project and make money from your like so in a consulting firm your own hours is being sold, right? So suppose they hire me on $20 per hour and they charge like $80 from the company and they make a margin of $60, right? So this they sell a human hours. That is what they sell. Okay. Here they don't sell human hours, but rather than they sell like products, whatever they products they have, right? So for example, Smith detection has like this products, right? Detection devices in airports, right? So that is what they sell. Similarly, Northern Tool sell like construction devices, right? So they sell like this equipment, those devices they sell, right? And then Aldi is basically a retail company, just like a groceries and all those things, right? So Aldi, it's quite famous in European countries, right? European country, and then in US also it has a store, right? It doesn't have a presence in India, but uh, like just like DMart or Reliance Supermarket or those things you can just relate with Aldi. Okay, all right. So when I was working with like all these companies, I was doing only like if I summarize my work in 10 years, I have been I have been I have been involved in making data products for these companies, right? So that is what I have been doing. Okay. So, okay, I have been involved in making data products for this company. Uh, okay. And why it's important to make data product or data platform for these companies, right? So let's try to understand this. So for any company, making a data platform, a central data platform, central data platform is now very, very important. Okay. Why it's important? And what is the central data platform? So let's try to understand this. Okay. So different companies, like all the company nowadays have the data distributed, right? Distributed as in their data is not located in one location. Data is located in different location. And all the company wants to do analytics. For example, if I want to understand total sales of my organization, suppose Aldi, which is a grocery company, wants to understand total sales, right? Total sales of all the stores. So the most likely the chances are the data of sales is not present in one system, only one system. Data is present in different systems, right? Now suppose somebody will tell Abhishek why data is present in different system. So I will ask a simple question that, hey, if you ask me myself, right, uh, Abhishek, please tell me your data, where your data is located, right? So my data from my like in my when I was in college, I was using one laptop, which is a HP laptop, and after my college, I bought another laptop, right? And then I had an office my laptop and my then I got a job, then I had an office laptop and a personal laptop as well. So as a human being, like if you notice, my data is also not in one central location, it's distributed, right? And I think it's the case with all of us, right? So if you think about it, our data itself is distributed. Similar to that, the companies are big organization, right? So they have many department and many department works differently and they also evolve with time, right? So their data is not centralized. Now all these companies are caring about it. Previously they were not caring about this that much, but now they care about it. Okay. So now when they care about it, why they care about it? Because the analysis of the data got increased nowadays, right? So previously we were not analyzing the data so much in a way that we do the analysis, right? So we try to fit in into the models as well. We try to make some Gen AI application as well, right? We try to do some machine learning predictions as well. We try to create some dashboards as well, right? So all of that we want to do. And if you want to do it, you need to really make one central data platform, right? Because if you want to understand total sales, or if you want to understand future sales as well, you need to bring all the data, all the sales data in one central place and try to do analytics on top of it, right? That's the only way you can do it. Okay. So in all these companies, I have been involved in making data platform for these companies, right? Like so that I can support analytics, right? Now when I'm saying that I can support analytics, there are two kinds of analytics which which we generally do. Okay, so there are many kinds of analytics, but in general, there are two kinds of analytics which we generally do, right? What are those? One is your descriptive analytics and one is your predictive analytics. Okay, what is descriptive analytics? Descriptive analytics is nothing but you are trying to analyze the data which you have. Predictive analytics is by using the data which you have right now, you are trying to predict the future, right? That is predictive analytics. So once you have a central data platform, you can do two kinds of analytics, right? One is your predictive analytics and one is your descriptive analytics. What is the difference between a predictive analytics and a descriptive analytics? Right? Let's try to understand this. So now, if I'm in the Aldi store, there are kind of a two analytics which I can do, right? I can either understand what is the total sales of this store, right? What is which particular product I'm selling most of the time, right? What is the product of the year? This employee is selling, like this employee is helping this customer, right? Or all in among all the employee, which employee is selling most of the product to other customer, right? Then how much cabbage I should keep here, right? How much tomatoes are there in my store, right? So I can understand all of this. This is a descriptive analytics. Whatever data I have, I want to describe that data. What is predictive analytics? Predictive analytics is making predictions, right? Suppose I don't want to understand the current sales. I want to understand what will be the sales in 2027, 14th August. I want to make a prediction, right? So that I can plan my things in advance, right? So suppose in like in European countries, the human labor is very costly, right? So they don't keep many people in the stores. So for example, in this particular store, like in a normal DMart which you'll find in India, there are like 20-30 people you'll find who will be present there, right? To help each and every customer. But in this particular store, you'll find only 4 to 5 people, or at max 2 to 3 people. One cashier will be there here and there. One particular person will be refilling the overall store, right? So you'll not find a lot of people here. So they do resource planning well in advance, right? So suppose Aldi can will do resource planning well in advance that hey, how much resource I should have here based upon the sales, right? So I want to understand the sales. If the sales is suppose 5 million a month or something like that, I will try to increase the number of resource and or I will decrease the number of stores, right? So that is what they do. Okay. So they want to make a prediction, right? So they want to move the data in one central platform and they want to do the prediction. Similarly, descriptive analytics is trying to predict the future. So trying to understand what the data which you have, and predictive analytics is trying to predict the future, right? Now, as a data engineer, if you ask me, Abhishek, what you will be, what when I started my introduction, right? So when I started my introduction, I basically said, if you have noticed, right, I have said that I am Abhishek. I have done my graduation from NIT Raipur, and like I started my career as a data analyst, and I basically understood that good analysis needs good data. And I have been involved in making data models, data pipeline, data platforms, all by using Microsoft Azure Cloud. That is what I have said, right? Which basically means that I have been building data platforms all by using Microsoft Azure Cloud. Why I have been building data platform? Because all the company needs central data platform so that they can do analytics. What kind of analytics? Predictive analytics, descriptive analytics. Okay. Now this kind of a project I have been working from past 10 years now. This is the one kind of a project you will be either working on a descriptive analytics project or you will be working on a predictive analytics project, and there is a third project which is a migration project. What is a migration project? Migration project is nothing but you want to move everything whatever is present here, right? So you want to move everything. So for example, I have an Android mobile. I don't want to use Android mobile. I want to use iPhone. I purchase iPhone. So I will move everything, whatever is there in Android to iPhone. That is what I will be doing, right? So this is the difference between like a migration project. Sorry, migration project, you move everything, right? That is a migration project. So I have been doing three kinds of project. One is predictive analytics project, one is descriptive analytics project, and another is migration project. In migration project, you move everything from the source to the target. Why? Because like companies saying that, hey, I don't want to use SharePoint, I don't want to use Dynamics 365, right? So you move everything, right? That is what you do. So this is a migration project, okay? All right. Now, whenever any project begins, right? So suppose if there's a project, like let me give you another example, right? Suppose there's a ship rocket company, right? Ship rocket company. There is a ship rocket company. What ship rocket does, right? So they have like different customers, Patanjali, Relaxo, Zomato, Mamaearth, right? Samsung, Body Care. They have different, this ship rocket company has different customers. They help in shipping the products for these customers, right? That is what they do. Now, this company is a product-based company, right? So they are basically shipping the product. They don't have layer. They are not selling. They are not TCS or Capgemini and those people. So this particular ship rocket company can have internal developers, right? Or this company can hire TCS and a Capgemini so that they can get some team for development, right? In either one of the case, suppose they are facing a problem, right? What is the problem? They want to they want to understand, they want to create a central data platform so that they can do analytics, right? What kind of analytics they want to do? They want to do descriptive analytics, right? So they want to make a logistic dashboard in which they want to track total shipment, average delivery dates, delayed shipment, delay date rate, right? Express bees, e-commerce, right? Delivery. They want to understand the total shipment done by each of the partners, right? That also they want to understand. So they want to make this kind of a dashboard, right? So ShipRocket will first of all give the requirement. What is the requirement? Requirement is we have the data in different source system and we want to make a central reporting system. That is what we want to make, right? Now, if you want to make this, right? If you want to make this, first of all, this particular problem statement should be understood, right? And then that would be understood by the product owner. So product owner will understand the requirement, understand the business requirement, and he will set up the priority, like which work is important. Okay. So the product owner will basically communicate with the business stakeholders and understand what is the requirement, what is the business requirement together with business analyst, right? So if both of them will understand the business requirement, what is the difference between a product owner and a business analyst? Product owner job is to not only understand the requirement, but product owner job is to also set up the priority. Which work is more important, which work is less important, right? So for example, in my day, my job is to teach you guys, then I will go to the gym, then I will probably start working for my office, right? Then I need to plan the like birthday for my kid, right? So he has a birthday coming, so I need to plan for it. And then at the same time I need to go out, bring some groceries as well, right? So I have many work today, okay? But suppose there is groceries not at all here, right? Nothing is here so that we can cook. So I will rather teach you guys and go and bring something so that we can eat breakfast, right? So suppose this kind of a priority in day-to-day work, I think all of us we do this priority work, right? And sometimes we also waste our time in the work which is not so important, right? So for example, I will probably uh, do some sort of work, right, in day-to-day routine that is not so important and that will not bring value to me. Similar to that, when many people are working in a project, there are many work which is going on, and if you're not prioritizing your work, which is more important, you're just wasting your time, right? So product owner job is to do that. Okay, business analyst will not do this. Business analyst will not do priority work and all that. Business analyst job is to just understand the business, take the requirement. Now, what solution architect will do? Solution architect will try to understand the problem statement and make architecture diagram, right? So how the problem statement can be solved, right? So that he will understand whether to go with Azure, whether to go with GCP, whether to go with AWS, and he will come up with the solution architecture diagram that, hey, how this particular problem can be solved. Okay. So solution architect will do it. So as a data engineer, your job is to not listen to the stakeholder. Your job is to not like listen to this particular create architecture diagram, right? So all this work you will not do. At least you'll not do like 4 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. But if you're 10 12 years of year of experience, then people might feel that, hey, you are senior, you might be involved in some stakeholder discussion and all that. But generally, that is not your job, right? Now, once the solution architecture has been created, so your job is to not create a solution architecture diagram. Your job is to not understand whether to go with Data Factory, whether to go with Databricks, whether to go with Fabric, whether to go with Synapse, whether to go with Unity Catalog, whether to go with Lakehouse architecture, whether to go with Terraform, whether to go with GitLab, whether to go with DevOps. All this you will not decide, right? So this is not your job. Your job is to develop, right? Then Azure admin will deploy these resources, right? So Azure admin will deploy each one of the resources in Azure cloud. So your job is to not also create resources, right? Or manage networking, manage security, manage authorization, manage authentication, right? Manage networking practices, right? So all this is not your job. Why it's important to understand it's not your job? Because sometimes we start the course and you will ask Abhishek, what is this networking? What is this security? What is this authorization? What is this authentication, right? I'm okay to explain all these things, guys, but it will just waste your time, right? Because it's not been asked in the data engineering interview. So why you just like want to like you are free to learn this, right? Yeah, I'm not saying don't learn, right? If you're curious, but you should learn what is important first, right? So then you focus on other things as well. And if you're curious, you learn it, right? That's not important. But you should show that Abhishek, whatever you're teaching, I'm learning this and I'm also learning this, right? But don't focus or shift your focus in other things which is not so important. Okay. Now what you will do, your job is to make data platform, which is, and how you can make data platform, you will make data platform by doing data movement and data transformation. Okay. So for example, if you have a sales data at different places, right, at different places you have a sales data, so your job is to move the sales data in one central platform and then do data transformation. Says you need to join the data and make one data, right, so that this analytics can be done, right? So your job is to move the data from different places to one central place and create one big fat table so that the analytics can be done, right? So that is your job. Okay. Like I'm just describing data movement, data transformation in very simple manner just to understand this, but this doesn't look that this simple, right? But you will be working on this. You will work on data movement, data transformation. Okay. Now, if you're working on predictive analytics, then you'll work with data scientist. If you're working on descriptive analytics, you'll work with data analyst. And there's a ETL tester, there's a DevOps engineer after that who will deploy the project from one environment to another environment, right? So CI/CD things will be done by the DevOps engineer. All right. So roughly, what is your team size, right? So your team size is you have a one product owner, one business analyst, right? One solution architect, one Azure admin, 2 3 data engineers, and 2 3 data scientists, right? And then a DevOps engineer, a Scrum Master. All these people will be handling the team, right? So suppose data analyst and data analyst and data scientist and data engineers depends upon how much data you have, right? So suppose it like sometimes people will ask Abhishek, how many data engineers will be there? Data engineers basically depends upon not number of source systems. Data engineers, suppose like when you're doing a migration or when you're doing a data movement, if you have if you have 5 sources, but if you have one table in five the source, you can just do it with one data engineer, right? But if you have 2 sources itself, and then in each of the source you will have 300 tables, then you need data engineers. You need more data engineers, right? So data engineer basically depends upon the number of data sources which you have, right? So data just depends on that. Okay, so you have a product owner, you have a business analyst, you have a solution architect, you have Azure admin, you have a data engineer, you have a data scientist, you have a DevOps engineer and a Scrum Master. Okay, so now what is your role as a data engineer, right? And what is your day-to-day activity? So what will be the answer of this, right? So your answer of this would be that as a data engineer, I basically, like in my career, I have worked on creating data platforms for different companies, right? So I have involved in data migration and data transformation by using Data Factory, Databricks, PySpark, Spark SQL, right? Synapse Analytics, Fabric, by using these tools, right? That should be your answer. Okay. And like what is your team size, right? So your my team size is generally so my team size was roughly around 8 to 9 people, consist of product owner, solution architect, Azure admin, right? 2 3 data engineers, 2 3 data scientists, right? So this was my team. Okay. And then what kind of projects you have done, right? So my like I have basically done three kinds of project: predictive analytics project, descriptive analytics project, and a migration project in my all the organization, right? Okay, so this kind of answer you can give. You can also polish this answer. You can remember this answer. You can write about it. So not only from this answer front, but whenever you're learning something, it's very, very important to understand why you're learning this, right? So it's very important to understand. So suppose I can just open Data Factory, start telling you to move the data, how to move the data. But you should understand why we need to move the data, right? So we are moving the data for doing predictive analytics, descriptive analytics, or a migration. That is the why behind it. And during the course, it's always important. Like for example, somebody is teaching you Data Factory, right? Or somebody is teaching you some sort of feature. You should always understand why you're learning this, right? Or what is the significance of this particular tool, or what is the significance of this particular feature. That is very, very important, right? And then we will learn what part of it and how part of it, but why is very, very important. Okay. All right. Anybody, any question till here? You can raise your hand and then we'll clarify the question. Anybody has any question till here, guys? Anybody has any question? You can raise your hand. Okay. So now let me show you another slide. Okay. So let's go through this so that it will make more sense to this. It will make more sense to you now. So now, like as a data engineer, what you're doing, you are moving the data in one central platform. You are transforming data, making data ready so that the analytics can be done, right? So what your job is, what is data engineering, right? So data engineering is basically finding right data for data analysts and data scientists. So data analysts can say that, hey, business asked me to present total sales of DMart depending upon a DMart is present in a shopping mall or it's not present in shopping mall, right? Or suppose like a data analyst or a stakeholder can say that, hey, I want total sales by area, right? Or by like states, different states, right? So now data analyst will come to me and say that Abhishek, I need real estate data, I need state data, right? So I need to really pull the data from the source, bring it to the data platform, right? So the analytics can be done. So your best colleague or best buddies will be data analysts and data scientists. Those guys will be your best friend in a project. Reason being that you will be working day in and day out with them. Okay. Now you will work on designing ATL pipeline. You will work on making data marts. You'll work on creating data pipelines. You'll work on creating data quality check, right? Code quality check, optimize the cost, enhance the performance of the pipeline, implement data governance practices, right? Make data lineage graph. What you will be not doing, you will not work on ML models. You'll not work on creating reports. You'll not work on CI/CD application. You'll not work on front end application. You'll not write like web development, mobile application code, right? You'll not handle infrastructure security. All of these are not data engineering, right? So you'll not work on all of these. Okay. Like in some of the companies, they expect you to make a CI/CD pipeline. In some of the companies, they might expect you to do Power BI work as well. Because the organization is small, they don't want to hire few other people, right? They want you to do the things, right? But that is not data engineering, right? So your focus should not be learning all of this. Your focus to learn data movement, data transformation first. And then if you have some time, learn basic of it. Don't invest too much time on learning all of this. Okay. All right. Now again, anybody has any question, guys? Okay. So if you have any question, you are free to ask those questions, right? Don't feel that this question is silly or whatever. You can just ask the question, right? Okay. Now let's try to understand, like we understood what is data engineering. We understood like what kind of a project we do, right? Now let's try to understand why we do all these projects in cloud, right? Why, first of all, the project is being implemented in cloud, right? Why it's important to implement in cloud, right? Or why we are doing this data engineering in the cloud, right? Why we are becoming cloud data engineer, right? Why it's important to become a cloud data engineer nowadays, right? So to get that understanding, it's important to understand what is cloud itself, right? So let's try to understand what is cloud. So now somebody will tell Abhishek, like whatever projects you are like telling us, predictive analytics, descriptive analytics, all this, why it's important to do in the cloud itself, right? So why not like we can do it in on-premise service? Why it's important to do it in the cloud? Okay. So let's try to understand. So let's try to understand like why first of all cloud itself is important. Okay. So if you think about it, like people, the companies nowadays don't want to take care of infrastructure headache, right? And maintenance of a infrastructure. For example, like I think all of us, right? So for example, I have purchased a Google Drive and I'm paying like 2000 rupees for 2 TB of storage in Google Drive, right? That is what I'm doing. Right. So suppose if you go to my drive, I am paying around like 2 TB of storage I have purchased, right? So why I purchased 2 TB of storage in Google Drive? Because I have been using like uh, 1 second. Yeah, so why I have purchased that? Reason being that I was using some pen drive and then like I was trying to copy the data in my pen drive, right? And it's very inconvenient, right? Inconvenient as in like if my pen drive is full, I will just like I need to purchase another pen drive. If I forget this my pen drive because I'm traveling here and there, sometimes in Germany, sometimes I'm in India, right? And sometimes my mom calls me and say that, hey, I want to see this and that video, right? So if it is in Google Drive or something, I can just share my marriage videos or my any video with her very easily, right? But in a particular maintenance of a particular hardware, it also requires you to like take care of it, right? Upgrade it, right? And make sure that like it's not lost, right? So you need to take care of infrastructure, right? Now company nowadays don't want to do it. For example, if they have a hardware or if they have infrastructure, they need to take care of maintenance, right? And they need to make sure that this particular infrastructure is being used always, right? Like there is no downtime or there is no like so it requires a lot of work, right? Now people don't want to do it, and also at the same time it's costly, right? Main thing is it's costly, right? Now when you go for a cloud computing, you can rent the infrastructure, right? You can basically go and say that, hey, I need a virtual machine, I need a some sort of a computer, I need a SQL server, I need a MS SQL server, and then you can rent those servers very easily and you can access those servers over internet, right? So what is cloud? Cloud is nothing but the idea of the cloud is the practice of using a network of remote server hosted on the internet to store, manage, process data rather than your local computer. So what you're doing, you're not using your computer, you're using someone else's computer, you're paying for it as much as you use it. That is what the cloud is in very simple terms, okay? So company nowadays wants to make a central data platform, right, in the cloud. Reason being that they don't want to take care of infrastructure cost of making this central data platform and also the maintenance of the central data platform. They don't want to do it, right? They want to do it everything in the cloud so that it's easy, it's cheaper, and at the same time they they are not taking care of infrastructure as well, right? So what is the benefit of the cloud? It's pay as you go. It can be like everything will be handled by the cloud service provider, right? Upgrade is very easy, easy to collaborate, easy to implement, right? So suppose if I have 10 developers, I can give them some basic machine, right? Like some just computer to access the internet, and then I can buy a high power machine on Azure cloud, and they can just work on that particular machine rather than working their own system, right? So that they can do. So these are the benefits of the cloud, right? Now the cloud itself has two types, two model, okay? What are those models? So in the cloud, you have two kind of a model. What are those models? You have a deployment model and you have a service model, right? So in deployment model, you have three kinds of a cloud: public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. And then you have a service model in which you have a three kinds of a service: IaaS, SaaS, and PaaS. Now this is very, very important, not for the interview, but it is important for AZ 900 exam, right? So the other question which I told you, like, hey, what is your role, right? And then what you do as a data engineer, all this is asked in AZ 900 exam, but this can be asked in AZ 900 exam, but it's not important for the interview, right? Nobody will ask you like what is public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud. Among 10 years of my career and 3 years of teaching career, it never been happened that somebody like came to me and said that, Abhishek, what is public cloud is been asked in the interview. But only once I was giving an interview in which like somebody asked me a private cloud. Only once it has happened. So it's very less likely that somebody will ask you this question, okay? But it's important for AZ 900 exam, right? So what is this like public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud? Okay, so let's try to understand this. So now Microsoft has a data center all across the globe. So as I told you that it has like you are accessing a server, right? So suppose here Microsoft has data center all across the globe, right? Suppose they have a server in India as well, they have the server in Greece as well, they have the server in North America as well, they have the servers. And you can opt for this server, right? I can go to Microsoft. I can create virtual machines, right? I can create virtual machines, right? I can create virtual machine. I can deploy this virtual machine any of the like place, right? Like any place I can deploy the virtual machine. So I can opt for a virtual machine in any location around the world, right? That I can do. Now you'll again ask Abhishek why I need to select location, right? When I'm deploying a virtual machine or when I'm deploying a storage, why I need to select a location, right? So why location? This location is important. Suppose I am in Europe right now, right? Now I need to store my data, right? So I will store the data in Europe only, right? I will buy a virtual machine which is there in Europe. Why I will buy a virtual machine which is there in central US or Canada? Because if I am buying the machine in central India or Canada, in the backend, Azure needs to store your data in central India and the US. So your data is not stored in Europe, rather than my data is stored in in US, right? Which will be costly operation for me because you are located in central India. So your computer is there in central India. When you do the movement, your data will go to central US. Why you want to do that? You just want to, you can rather store data in Europe until unless you have reason to store that in US, right? So you should not do that. Okay. So it depends on where you want to store data. It has multiple advantages, right? So your communication is very easy and those advantages are there, right? Now, what is public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud? Suppose if you have three companies, right? TCS, ABC, XYZ, and all the company, right? There are multiple companies. Now, suppose this particular company says that I need a virtual machine, right? And I need it in central India. So what Microsoft will do, Microsoft will give the access to this particular company on a server which is there in central India, right? This is a public cloud setup in which you can access data centers of Microsoft, which is publicly available to everyone, right? Publicly available to everyone means they can deploy the services on these data centers. Is it secure? Yes, it's secure. Is it like can be used by everyone? Yes, it can be used by everyone, but it's secure at the same time, right? But now, suppose Aldi said a different thing, right? Aldi said that, hey, we have this data centers in Europe. I don't want to migrate the data to your data center, but rather than that, I want to keep my own data center. Data is my own data center, but I want you to come to my data center, deploy services on top of it, right? Services on top of it, as in deploy data factory and Databricks on top of it, right? So this is a private cloud setup in which you're not moving everything, but you're just keeping your data under your own boundary and you're asking some services on top of it, right? So that is what you're asking, right? So that is a like your private cloud setup. You're not going for a public cloud, right? You're just going for a private cloud. Okay. All right. So just like suppose if you're hosting a like suppose I'm hosting my birthday party of my kid. So there are two things which I can do, right? I can either call a catering service in my home, right? Or we itself can go to some sort of a restaurant and we can host the birthday party over there, right? So it's just like a restaurant can either come to my home, do a catering service, or I can go to a restaurant itself for this birthday party, right? So it depends what you want to choose, right? So and then when you are doing both of them, right? When you're doing both of them, it's a hybrid cloud setup, right? Hybrid cloud setup is nothing but like you have some services on public cloud, some services on private cloud. That is mix of both, right? So for example, when I'm hosting a birthday party, I will go like I will take my college friends to a restaurant, right? After we have a dinner or something, right? So that we can do. So it's just like mix of both, right? So it's both private and public cloud setup in which you are doing an intra ID setup in your private cloud and then your public setup in a public cloud. Okay. All right. Then you have IaaS, SaaS, and PaaS. Okay, IaaS, SaaS, and PaaS. What does it mean? IaaS is nothing but infrastructure as service. PaaS is platform as service. SaaS is software as service. What does it mean? It means that you are just buying an infrastructure, which is IaaS, right? So you're going to Aldi and you're going to a particular Microsoft and you're saying that I just need an infrastructure. I don't need anything else. Like for example, I need only computer. What is platform as service? Platform for service as in is nothing but you are asking for a code package, right? Code package, or you're asking like a particular software where you can go and code, right? That is a PaaS service. What is software service? You are just trying to like use a pre-built software, right? That is what you're trying to use, right? So you're using like a Gmail or an email, that is a pre-built software which you're trying to use, that is a SaaS service. So there are three kinds of service: IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. IaaS is nothing but you need a virtual machine. PaaS is you want to upload a code package, right? SaaS is you're just using a pre-built software, right? That is a SaaS service. So there's a public cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, and then you have IaaS, SaaS, and PaaS. Okay. All right. Anybody has any question on this, guys? Now, one more important thing is like when you're working on Azure cloud, right? You won't be able to understand whether you're working on a public cloud or a private cloud. Suppose from this UI, you won't be able to understand whether you're working on a public cloud or a private cloud or a hybrid cloud, that you cannot understand. But in general, the company uses a hybrid cloud setup, right? Suppose they have an intra ID in their own premise. Like in general, the company uses a hybrid cloud setup rather than using a public or a private cloud. Okay. But as a data engineer, you don't need to take care of whether to go with public cloud, private cloud, or hybrid cloud. Okay. All right. Anybody has any question, guys? Still here. Let me give you unmute option so that if you have any question, you can ask. Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, can you just explain once more about the hybrid cloud?
Yes, sure.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody has any other question, guys?
Hello, sir. Good morning.
Good morning.
I just wanted to understand the difference between the server and serverless services.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody has another question, please? So this difference between a serverless and server, have you heard it somewhere? Because I haven't thought about it. So have you heard it somewhere?
No, you are explaining about the server, like the servers, right, being placed for
Uh-huh.
different countries for different users, right? So from there, I thought I'll just ask this, like those servers and serverless things.
Mm, okay. Okay. So let's first try to understand the public-private hybrid cloud. Sorry, yeah. So let's try to first understand that. So hybrid cloud is nothing but mix of both, right? So suppose I have a company, right? I have a company, and like my company is TCS, for example. In TCS, you have many employees, right? Many email IDs, and TCS is a very old company, right? It has been there from past 20, 25 years, I suppose. So now this particular TCS company, like like in 20 years, they have many employees, many people, information is there, and then they don't want to migrate everything of this particular information to a so generally you store all this information in Intra, Microsoft Intra, right? So that is what you do. Now these company don't want to migrate all this intra information somewhere here. That they don't want, right? But so what they want is, I want to keep the intra information in my premise, but I want few of the services. Sorry, I want to also use public cloud, so I want to use mix of both. I will keep my intra ID under my hood, and I need like a public setup as well, in which I want to like use some data factory, some servers. I am okay to move my data to a public cloud, but I am not okay to move my intra ID data to a public cloud, right? So I want to keep this information with me, right? So this is a hybrid cloud setup in which you are moving the data from outside of your servers, but you are still keeping some of the data which you want, right? So that is a hybrid cloud setup, which is a mix of both, which is a public and a private cloud setup. Okay. All right. I hope it's clear. You have any follow-up question on this topic, or is it clear for you?
No, it's clear, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Now, what is the difference between a serverless and a server, right? So serverless doesn't mean there is no server. It doesn't mean that, right? So for example, there are two things, right? Like serverless is nothing but, suppose you have a server here, right? And then you have a person who's managing this server, right? Or like suppose in this case, Microsoft is managing the server. Now, suppose a user, there's a user who go to Microsoft and say that, hey, can I have this server, right? And I want to rent the server from you, and I will pay you based upon the usage. So Microsoft will tell, sure, you can have this server with you. So what this user will do, user will start storing some data inside this, right? User will start storing some data inside this. Now user can also scale up, scale down the server. User can scale this server, make it bigger, make it small, all that the user can do, right? So you are using this server, right? This is not serverless, this is the management. User is managing this server, right? Managing the servers in a way, right? It is hosted in with Microsoft, but the user itself is managing the server, right? Because he can scale up, scale down, he can change configuration of the server. So this is server. But what is serverless? Serverless is nothing but, suppose Microsoft has a server. Now user said that, hey, I do have like, I want to run some SQL queries, right? I don't want to use this server. Neither I want to store the data inside this server. If you're working on serverless architecture, you cannot store data inside the server. That you cannot do. But what user wants is, I want to run some SQL query on top of this data so that I can see output, right? Can I use this server to run a SQL query? So Microsoft will tell, you pay me per query, right? Pay me like per query 5 rupees, and you can basically query on this server, right? So you can take this data, you can query, you can query on top of the server, you can get output, but you cannot store data inside this. So serverless is nothing but you are trying to use a server to do some sort of a query, to do some sort of like um, development, right? But you cannot store the data inside this serverless because you're not owning this server. So that's the difference between serverless and server. In serverless, you're not owning the server, you're not managing the server, you cannot store data inside the server, right? That you cannot do. But when you're owning the server, you can store the data inside it, you can scale up, scale down, everything you can do, right? But when you're working on a serverless architecture, you're not owning it. You're just trying to use that server to run some sort of a query, and you're paying per query probably. Okay.
Okay, Abhishek, thank you.
All right. Okay, guys, I'm good for today. So in the next class, right, you guys need to really go through all this, right? Which I have mentioned. Um, like you need to, one second.
So, Abhishek, just one more question.
Yeah,
Yeah, actually, you are. I was not present in the first like the class which happened. So, will you be able
demo,
to share the? Will you be able to share the link for that?
demo class which has happened, you're
The
saying?
class. Yeah.
Yeah, can you send me the number in the chat?
Okay. Sure. And also, like regarding the costing and everything, it is mentioned there in the demo class.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Sure. I'll just share my
Can
number
you?
with you.
Yeah,
Or mail ID number both shall I?
yeah, you can share email ID and both number.
Okay.
Okay, I think many people have written some questions in the chat as well. Okay, Ashutosh, I haven't attended. I am attending the class for the
Yeah, this is
first
my name,
time.
Ashutosh Das. Yes.
I haven't attended. Please share the link. I haven't attended. I haven't attended. I haven't attended. Okay, fine, guys. So whosoever has written I haven't attended, the link will go to you because when you fill the form, I do have a number of you, right? So I suppose everybody entered a like a right number when you're attending the class. You haven't written 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you have written the right number, it's WhatsApp present is there, you will get the number. You don't need to like share the number again because I do have the number already with me right now. Okay. Uh, so you just need to write the number if you feel that you haven't written the correct number while registering for this class. Okay. Because when you attended the Zoom class, I think you entered the number, right? Hybrid cloud, can you explain? Will you share the notes? Yes, I will share the notes. Can you please tell me why bank use data engineering? Why do bank use data engineering? Simran. Okay. So let me tell you the answer, Simran. So bank use data engineering because bank also wants to do same kind of analysis, right? So bank wants to do some sort of a like they want to understand like let me give you an example. Suppose bank wants to understand which customer will retain with bank and which customer will leave the bank, right? Or which customer will pay the credit card bill and which customer will not pay the credit card bill. So those things bank want to understand, right? So if a particular bank wants to understand which customer will be there with the bank and then will continuously using the bank, or which customer we need to target that they're not using the bank, like bank account regularly, and so that we can just like call them, discuss them, right? Why they are not using, give them some fixed deposit offer so that they can deposit some money, right? So they want to do some analysis. Or they want to understand whether this customer will pay the credit card bill or whether this customer will default, right? So those things they want to understand. So if they want to understand all of this, they need again a dashboard or they need some sort of predictive analytics, right? So if they want to do it, and their data is also bank also has the data distributed in different systems, right? So they need to migrate the data in one central system so that they can do analytics. Otherwise, they cannot do it. So that's why the bank also needs it, right? Bank also needs to make a predictive analytics or a descriptive analytics for giving insights to the stakeholders. Okay. All right. Anybody has another question, guys? Okay, I
I
think
have a
Aman.
question, sir, once more.
Yeah, tell me.
Actually, I haven't taken the enrollment yet. Okay, this is for the first time I have attended your class. So I'm
Mhm.
gonna take my enrollment and just wanted to know whether this note will be shared with us or with
Yeah,
me
yeah, it
or
will be
before I
shared.
take the enrollment.
Yeah, it will be shared with you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
All right, guys, I am good now. Thank you so much for attending the class. We will meet in the next class now. Please invest time in revising things, making your own notes as I explained already, right? Thank you so much. See you then. Bye.
Hello, Abhishek.
Yeah.
Abhishek, just small query. So, can we discuss regarding that payment module here in this channel, or is it right?
Uh, One
Or
second.
I mean, how we can
Can
raise our
I
query for that?
can I like ping you or call you? Like,
Sure, sure,
is
sure.
it fine?
Makes more sense. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Sure, Abhishek. Ashutosh, that's this site. I've texted your
Yeah,
number as well.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I will
Thank
ping
you.
you.
Thank you.